Hello, friends, family, and countrymen. Nicholas here. Let's talk about reading. I read. Do you read? I hope so. I think at some point, excuse me, I'm still sick. You had to read the title of this video, or maybe the description, maybe possibly. Anything like that. So yeah. For a lot of people, when you ask them when they started reading, they say that they started reading like kids books at like 4, maybe 5, and then, like, and when I say kids books, I mean like, I don't know, not the Berenstain Bears, because that's a lie. I'll talk about that in a future video, I'm sure. I don't know, books like Little Bear. Nope, that's Berenstain Bears, isn't it? Little Critters was the one that I was thinking of. I'm only thinking of it because there was a collected edition in a bookstore that I saw the other day. I want to say Walmart, probably, actually, in the books at Walmart. Anyways, so yeah, I'm just sitting at a light, so that's why I'm not, that's why my hands are kind of free range right now. It's also cold in my car because I don't have heat for some reason again. Yeah. Anyways, when I started reading like picture books at about 2-ish. Regular like kids books at about 3, and then toward the end of my 3rd year of life, I was reading chapter books and like bigger, larger, technically novels at that point. And then by the time I was 4, I was already into novels, and I was reading pretty well, and I was understanding information pretty well too. And one of the books that I read, because my sister was in, I want to say, either 8th grade, 7th or 8th grade. My oldest sister was in 7th or 8th grade, and she was reading Romeo and Juliet. Now, this was late 1990s, early 2000s, so it was kind of okay back then for some reason for kids to be reading Shakespeare. And so basically any book that she would read for like classes and such, I would also read, or I would read it on my own and give her some information about it. My second oldest sister did the same thing. She would read my oldest sister's books, tell her what the book was about. My oldest sister really didn't want to read when she was younger. She wanted to do a lot of work. She was bad about things. But I digress. So she was reading Romeo and Juliet, and I was also reading Romeo and Juliet. And that's a difficult book for people to read anyways, but a 4-year-old reading a book is, a book like that at least, it's pretty intense, to say the least. So yeah. And the reason I'm talking about this is there was a 4-year-old who, 4 going on 5, who like is finding fame right now, I guess, because she read through 1,000 books already by the time that she's like gonna be turning 5. And I'm like, yeah, that's not super abnormal. That happens with a lot of kids, actually, but we don't really talk about them. I'm not quite sure why she was super like sought after by the media or anything. Basically, I'm jealous of that kid, because when I was 4 and reading Romeo and Juliet and comprehending what was happening, I could comprehend the idea of murder and love versus lust and stuff. I was a weird kid. I didn't get any fame or anything. I did get accepted into a few gifted programs as a kid. That is not the way to be entering that, but whatever. Yeah, so I was entered into a bunch of gifted programs. I was a smart kid, and then I started getting older, and the problem with gifted children is that they turn out to be typically slackers as they grow older. because they start out at such a high level, and then as they progress, a lot of quote-unquote gifted don't progress further than their highest level that they were in, as a kid. So if they're at a 10th grade reading level, 11th grade reading level, by the time they're 7, once they get to 12th grade, they're not really tuned in enough. They get lazy. They're like, I'm so already past this, blah blah. And that's something that should definitely be talked about with like gifted children. In that when there's a gifted child, we put a lot of pressure on them to be amazing, be great, whatever. Be smarter than we are, which kind of sucks. As a formerly quote-unquote gifted child, there was a lot of pressure in the gifted courses and everything, like AP's gifted programs. You have to do a lot more work than other kids, and especially if you're gifted in one thing, not all of them, because there are some people who are gifted in all aspects of education. So that's reading, writing, math, blah blah blah. But then there are people like me who were gifted in reading and writing, and then we're just horrible in math. I'm still horrible in math. That's fine though. I do okay, but it's business math. I can work it. So yeah, I just want to talk about reading a little bit and kind of admit to my jealousy of that 4-year-old who's getting like famous because she can read. And I was reading at 4. I read Romeo and Juliet and I understood it. So yeah, I'm petty. It's gonna be it for this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.